bum bum da 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 bum bum da. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the Roomies Digest. My name's Christine, and if you clicked on this video, you know that we are in for another riveting round of Battle of the Books. Essentially, I ask 3 creators, one from Book Talk, one from Bookstagram, and one from BookTube, to give me a book recommendation from a specific genre. I end up reading that book throughout the month and then end up rating it via the Caw Pile method. The book with the highest number from the Caw Pile ends up winning that month's round. Not me doing this for the whole entire sentence that I just said, but they end up winning that month or that round, thereby giving their platform 1 point. At the end of the year, the platform with the most points ends up being, you know, the winner, the one to take it all, the platform with the best recommendations for 2023 at least. So like I said, each month I end up doing a different genre, a different theme, some could say, because I think I am gonna be stretching out of genres and go more into different themes. We'll see how the rest of the year takes us. But for this specific month, the month of April, I was really craving this genre. I really wanted to get into some juicy recommendations for this one. So I am so excited to share with you that this month is going to be the sci-fi round. Sci-fi round. I feel like I really enjoy sci-fi books. I just don't read a lot of them. Is it because I don't know where to start? Maybe. I don't know. It's just, you know, a little overwhelming. Sci-fi books range from dystopian, zombie apocalypse types to actual in space, you know, on a space station, in a different world, different galaxy, you know, aliens, that kind of a thing. Currently, I can say that my favorite sci-fi series so far is Ice Planet Barbarians. If you've been around the channel, you know my obsession. But I would say a lot of traditional sci-fi readers probably don't count that as the nitty-gritty of sci-fi. I did in fact read Dune when the movie came out a couple of years ago, and I really liked it, even though, you know, obviously it was written in the 60s by a white man, so we already have problems. But I generally enjoyed it. I thought it was a really nice, epic sci-fi, and I think there are similar themes in sci-fis that I really enjoy in my fantasy books. So I feel like it just makes sense that I would like both. In this particular round, I feel like I have some really professional people to give us some recommendations. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first person that I want to introduce for this video, she will be representing YouTube in this round, and her name is Elizabeth, or Museum Grack. This is a good buddy of mine, and I feel like she is always on the rise with sci-fi. I feel like she always is reading the newest sci-fi. You know what I mean? Just always getting the best sci-fi NetGalley recs, and she's always yeah, this was a really good sci-fi, you know, da 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 da. And I'm always wow, you read a lot of sci-fi. So there are a lot of books that I think she could recommend me, but there are 2 in particular that I think she could go with. Maybe 3. I'm back on my guessing bull. I truly don't know what anyone is going to recommend me, but let's just go ahead and give it a try. All right, so the first book that I think she might recommend me is Genesis of Misery. I feel like she read this as a NetGalley arc a while ago, and this is it's giving the First Sister vibes, which I really liked, but it's a very poetic, large scale sci-fi, and I feel like it was just super epic, and she really, really enjoyed it. Gave it a 5 stars. I feel like that could be the #1 pick. The second book that I think she could recommend me is Becky Chambers. I sadly have never read Becky Chambers. I know. So I'm interested to see if maybe she is going to recommend To Be Taught If Fortunate. I think it's Small Angry Planet, Between Worlds, If We Were Between Worlds, whatever that one is. And then the third book, or 4th book if you count 2 in the last one, I think she might recommend me 3 Body Problem. Because I feel like her whole vibe is that she wants everyone to read that book. I feel solid in that one. Okay, so those are what I think that Elizabeth is going to recommend me. Let's go ahead and watch her video and see which book she actually recommended me.
Hey Christine, it's Elizabeth from Museum Grack Reads, and first I just want to say how truly excited and honored I am that you wanted to include me in your Battle of the Books series. It's one that I've been so enjoying watching, especially as you try to guess what various creators are going to be recommending to you. You asked me for some sci-fi, and that's my sweet spot. And let me tell you, I went back into my youth and my entire journey of sci-fi reading to consider everything that I have loved and comparing it to everything that I know you love in a good book. Because let's face it, I'm in it to win it. And so while I consider a whole host of titles and had some really solid contenders, I did still end up with a book that I read last year and loved. Because let's face it, I'm competitive and I'm here to win. So with that in mind, I picked a book that I have recommended to a lot of people in my life, even folks who don't read science fiction. And every single person who has picked this book up on my recommendation has had a great time. And that is The Long Way to...
I got it right!
And let me tell you why I picked this book. So,
okay.
I know you like political story.
I know you like good world building. I know you like some strong character development. This baby has it all. This has the most beautiful and natural world building that I've read in a while. It doesn't feel like work as she's introducing new concepts, new political structures, new species, new ideas around gender or sexuality. It all just flows as part of the narrative in a really beautiful way that I think you're going to enjoy. Add to that, you've got this huge sweeping adventure that these guys are on and a ragtag crew who's on a really monumental journey because the GC, which is the overarching galactic political body, has made a tentative inroad with a species that has been completely insular, and they have no way to travel back and forth if this partnership is to come to fruition, if they're going to join the GC. And the ship that these guys are working actually creates warp tunnels. So they are the highway construction crew that makes sure people can travel the galaxy quickly and efficiently and safely. And so they have been contracted to go to this formerly hostile homeworld of an alien race and make a bridge between the GC and these potential new allies.
What could go wrong, right?
What could go wrong?
Another piece that I love about this is that while this is a series, everything in the Wayfarer series is actually more of companions. So you'll have a connection between each book that ties them together, but they're not following the same narrative, if that makes sense. There are characters in this book that stuck with me, who I love, and I hope you love them too. This was one of my favorites of 2022, and I hope it's going to be one of your favorites of 2023. So, happy reading, but because I'm competitive and I know that this is a beloved book for a lot of folks, if somebody else has already selected this, I've already prepared another option, so just ping me and let me know. I'll send you another video because, again, I'm in it to win it. Happy reading. Can't wait to see what you think.
Wait, now I want to know what the other option is. That's so funny. I screamed so loud, Monique literally came in and was like, are you all right? I've never guessed a book correctly until this point. So, Elizabeth, did we just become best friends? That gave me such a serotonin high. Wow. Okay. Well, you're the first one. You're the first person that I put in the video. So I don't know if anybody else has recommended it, but to be honest, I don't think that the other two people are going to recommend this. I have a feeling in my bones. I don't think. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on to our second recommender, our second contestant. This is going to be someone who is representing Book Talk. This is a very new person that I followed because I did have like a hiccup with one of the people that was actually going to be recommending for me. So this person really came in the clutch because he was like, yes, I can recommend you a book. I got you. Let's go. So we're like very new acquaintance friends. His name is Mitch and he's on Mitch Scott Reads on Book Talk. And I feel like his vibe is just very like classic sci-fi. So I feel as though that's what he is going to be recommending me today. Or there's one book that I've seen him recommend quite a bit on his profile, like on his Book Talk. It's Velocity Weapon by Megan O'Keefe. I haven't read that one book obviously yet. It's on my shelf over there. I would just be so happy if that ends up being the book because I've been wanting to read that one for so long. And I keep seeing Mitch like recommend it. So I'm like, is it a good book? Should I be reading this book? But yeah, so it's either gonna be a classic sci-fi, which in that way, like I don't know what it could be. Like I've read the first two Dunes, so I don't think it'll be Dune. And I don't really know like too much about classic sci-fi. you know, like I don't really go down that route. That's not me. It's not my tea. But I would be just like so happy if it ends up being Velocity Weapon. I probably won't get the guess right. Like, you know, 2 in one video. That would be too many, you know what I mean? So let's just go ahead and watch this video and we'll see what he actually recommended me.
Hey Christine, Smith Got Reads here. Currently sitting on my floor so I can get a good display of my bookcase like everybody else does, but I don't have anything set up in front of my bookcase to record content, but that's here nor there. Just glad to be included in the Battle of Books. I've only making content for about 3 months, so it's really cool to get included something like this.
Wait, I think I see Velocity Weapon on his bookshelf. So I don't think that's it. Do I need glasses? I don't know. We'll see.
The first recommendation I think I'm giving to somebody that they're going to read, so I'm excited about that. But speaking of recommendations,
it's nerve-wracking.
To find something at first. I was scrolling through your CBR, scrolling. I had a lot of good books on there, but not that many sci-fi books that I was familiar with. So I was kind of at a standstill because I read a lot of stuff like, you know,
Dune, yep.
After this on my TBR, Empire of Silence, a lot of 600-page.
If you give me a 600-page book, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
A lot of thinking, a lot of rereading. I was really sure if that would fit the style of Battle of the Books with 2 other books, you know, getting all that done in a month or whatever.
Homie.
So I really just kind of reset, looked at all my books again, and I forgot that I had this. by Megan O'Keefe, which is perfect because it's also on your TBR list. I just it.
What?
But it's nice. It's 1 of 3. It's the first book in the series.
You're kidding me!
It's a space opera. It's a brother and sister. The brother's a perfect politician. She's a soldier, perfect soldier sergeant. She's on a mission. It goes wrong. Gets set 230 years to the future. He's woken up by an AI. The war's over, and it's like her side and her brother's side in the past, and like how they're gonna fix all this. So I hope you really enjoy it. Should win. I really like it. Really good story. I think it's be your favorite pick right here.
Amazing. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I've literally never guessed any of these right. I can't believe. Maybe it's just because I haven't read a lot of sci-fi. So like the possibilities, you know what I mean? Like I haven't read a lot of sci-fi, so I feel like the ones that I should have read are the ones people are probably gonna recommend me. You know what I mean? Like honestly, if I hadn't read Dune, I bet Mitch would have literally recommended Dune. That's crazy. Wow, I've been wanting to read that for quite some time. So it literally seems like the perfect package. I mean, he said, you know, politics, brother, sister, we got a soldier in there, we got a strong female lead, and then there's a time jump of 230 years. So we've got like the cryo sleep trope, which is so fun. I always love that. Wow, I can't believe I just got that right. Okay, we're 2 for 2. I know I'm not gonna go 3 for 3. That would be the perfect round. You know what I mean? Like that would just be crazy. That would be crazy. Thanks for that recommend. So the next person that I want to introduce to you guys, I just really love her whole entire vibe. She's gonna be representing Instagram in this round, and I feel like her Instagram feed is just like the perfect kind of like sci-fi feed. Everything about it just screams cool books, like amazing stories, really cool graphics. She also has like really great comic recommendations, but like for this round, I was like, it has to be sci-fi because she literally has a sci-fi readathon that she does like all the time. So I'm just kind of like, okay, we have to put her in this list because obviously she's the one. She's gonna be giving me a great rec. So that person is Bree from Bree's Bookish, and she is just so colorful and fun and such a cool person. So I'm so glad that she actually said that she could give me a rec for this video. I know that she's probably gonna have an obscure rec. Like she's gonna be the one that I won't know what the book is gonna be. You know what I mean? It'll probably be written by a Black author and will probably center around like a BIPOC story because I know that that's what she predominantly reads and like talks about on her Instagram, which is gonna be freaking great. So I feel like she's gonna have a really good obscure recommendation that I'm not gonna really know what it's gonna be. Like I don't even know if I would guess, you know what I mean? And with me saying that, like I try not to go on their Goodreads before because I don't want to like cheat, because honestly if I go on their Goodreads I could probably figure out what they're going to recommend me, but I try and go off of just kind of like the content that they post and kind of like the books they're excited about and the books that they talk about all the time. I mean, the only other book that I've seen a lot, like I've seen her kind of talk about a lot, is Genesis of Misery, which it could be, and that's going to be the one that I'm going to say that she'll recommend me, but I don't think that's actually going to be the book that she recommends me. So that's my guess. That's what I think. Anyway, let's get into the video. Let's see what she recommended me because I'm excited. Ooh, this bookshelf. stunning.
Hi Christine, it's Bree from Bree's Bookish. Thank you so much for including me in your Battle of the Books and for thinking of me when picking someone to select an excellent science fiction rec. I racked my brain and my shelves trying to find the perfect recommendation for you, which was super hard because you know my platform is built on sharing science fiction and fantasy books by authors of color. So whenever people bring me this type of request, I'm like, what should I do? What should I do? Anyways, I'm sure I picked a stunner. My recommendation is Machinehood by S.B. Divya.
Yep, never even.
Absolutely love this book.
Wouldn't have known.
Living in my mind rent-free ever since I read it. My book club Be Too Weird did a tour for it when it first came out, and the author S.B. Divya is an honorary weirdo, so we have nothing but love for her. But all of that aside, the story is phenomenal. Before I start fangirling, let me just give you a quick little synopsis. So it's based in the year 2095, when humankind is entirely reliant upon these pills that they're taking to enhance their abilities so they can remain competitive and basically relevant in a gig economy against machines and AI. So for example, there's a pill that protects them from diseases, one that helps them focus, one that makes them stronger and more agile, and one that helps them heal super fast. So basically our protagonist, Welga Ramirez, is ex-Special Forces and currently acting as an executive bodyguard, and she's on what she thinks is going to be her final job before she retires when a terrorist attack happens from a group called the Machine Hood. Their demands are basically stop production of these pills that the world is reliant upon within 1 week or else, and all chaos and all hell breaks loose. So humankind is reliant upon not only AI but these domestic machines and robots, and because they're all spooked that there's potential for AI takeover or apocalypse, everyone's shutting them down or decommissioning them, and lots of people are getting sick and dying. So it's really crazy. The story is great. It's kind of partial social commentary on like what it is to be human, and also like the direction that we're going with gig economy and social media and those types of things. It's such a good time. Absolutely loved it. Excellent twist. I think you're gonna like it. I'm super excited to recommend it to you also because I noticed that it's not on your owned TBR, and so that makes me excited because I'm thinking maybe you might not have been introduced to it otherwise. So I can't wait for you to read it. And that also being said, I know that you're on a book buying ban, and in solidarity, sis, I'm going to send you a copy so that way you can enjoy it yourself. I can't wait for you to read it. I know you're going to love it. And I feel like I'm going to win. Bye, everybody.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. I am on a book buying ban. That's so nice because usually if I don't have the book, I have to check it out from the library or try and find it on like audio or something. So I am on a book buying ban. It's really nice that she is gonna be sending me the book. Like, what are you? You're overachiever. But yeah, that's so awesome. Okay, so I obviously won't be reading that one right this second. I'll have to wait until it comes in, but that's awesome. Thank you so much, Brie. Okay, yeah, and she's right. Like, I probably would have not, I don't know. I don't want to say I never would have heard of that book, but like, you know what I mean? So anyway, okay, so those are our first 3 books for this round. I'm super excited to go ahead and get into it. I think I'm probably going to start with Becky Chambers because I want to say that one is the smallest of the 3, and then we'll go forward from there, but you guys will just have to wait and see. I feel like this round is gonna be so good. I'm coming into my sci-fi girly era. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this episode. I'm really excited to get started, so I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so first of all, I haven't read a single page for this vlog, but I do have some updates. First and foremost, Monique has COVID. That's fun. So what I had initially planned, because I am actually going to Puerto Rico for a couple of days for a friend's birthday, I had planned to leave the vlogging camera with her because she was gonna get some reading done over the weekend and do some things for like vlogs and stuff, but she's like sick in her room, so we're not gonna be doing that. I won't have a lot of reading time there on the trip, but getting to Puerto Rico is basically taking me like a day and a half because there are no straight up flights to Puerto Rico from the West Coast. So I will be reading for this vlog, of course. I'm gonna be leaving tonight at 11 p.m. I will be sleeping on that plane with this wonderful contour eye mask that I got from CVS. But when I wake up, I have a layover in Atlanta from like 8 a.m. to like 2 p.m. or something like that. So I'm gonna be reading. I'm probably gonna be looking rough. That's okay, because there's no judgments here. I can feel it, right? There's no judgments from you guys. I'm gonna be getting through at least one of these books. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll get through both of them. I'm not sure, because I do also have my flights back. But yeah, we will be having our fun activity for this one is going to be traveling to Puerto Rico, which is so fun. And yeah, those are the updates. Obviously no book ones. Literally haven't opened a page. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just on vacation already, apparently. Anyway, so that's it. That's the update. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hello, it's me. Okay, it's been quite a minute since I've checked in with you guys. We're gonna talk about this book because this is actually what I finished on my trip. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is my first Becky Chambers and I have just been having such a good time with this. Like, I don't know if cozy sci-fi is a genre, but like if it is, that is what this book is. Like, it is a cozy, just like fun time, which doesn't make any sense really, because obviously you're in space and you're like traveling around, you're going to a small angry planet. But I feel like the whole entirety, like the heart of this book was really just about the kind of like found family that is on this spaceship and their travels, their like experiences together, kind of like just going through the universe. I had a really great time with this. I obviously read it on my trip to Puerto Rico. I didn't do any check-ins because I was just having the time of my life, okay, under the Puerto Rican sun. Wow. I miss it. But what I do have to say about this is that this book makes me really excited to read other Becky Chambers books because the representation in this book, oh my God, top tier. Why was nobody talking about this for like any kind of LGBTQ book? Like, what's going on in the House of Commons? So that was really nice. I really enjoyed that. And then other than that, I feel like the space, the scientific aspects of this, which kind of get lost on me. Like, I don't want to say that I'm stupid, okay? But like, do I know the parts of a ship in space in a sci-fi? No. So I feel like a lot of that's in here, it's very easily digestible and easy to understand for someone who is not like a sci-fi person, who's not like a science person, okay? Because I can't claim that life. It's just not me. It's not me, darling. That being said, I feel like all of the characters were so well fleshed out, like such a good time. I also really like the writing style where she would have like a paragraph of like what's going on at the time, and then each kind of like POV would get interrupted by like a break in the chapter, but like not like a, you know, super crazy heavy break, you know what I mean? It was just like a space on to the next person's POV. I really like that. I thought it was a great time. Other than the characters, the plot of this book was also amazing. To have this kind of like group basically develops or basically like makes Black holes, like wormholes, black wormholes. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not a sci-fi girly. Not a sci-fi girly. To have it be like a situation that's like a small scale, like it's not like a thing where like you go into it and you're like, oh my God, I don't know anything about science, so like I can't follow. But to have it be like a smaller scale of like, oh, this is just like our job. This is something that we do. You know, it's very like straightforward. It's very like everyday life. But then to have like the kind of like trials and tribulations that they have to go through throughout this book to like get to this like small angry planet. I loved it. I loved it. Oh, it was so freaking good. The cop out on this is going to be insane. I know it's going to be a good time. But yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about this. I don't think there was a single thing that I didn't like. Also teared up a little bit because there's some things that happen towards the end. And if you've read this book, you already know what I'm talking about, okay? You already know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's some things towards the end that definitely tugged at my heartstrings. I was like, wow, y'all, you did not have to do me like this, Becky. But I also realized that like with the end of this book, it wrapped up so well. Almost like a procedural, but not quite. Like I think it was just kind of like Becky Chambers was like, I'm gonna try writing a book. If people like it, I might write another one. You know what I mean? So she left enough to the plot to like have a second book. Obviously there is one. You could also just kind of read this as a one-off and be like, okay, that's it, that's done. That's it for me, you know? So I'm excited to move on. Like I want to read the second book immediately. I thought that this book was packed, just packed with little gems and like so much diversity as far as like species too, just like alien life forms. I thought that the kind of like government system was incredibly like genius to just have like this like general government, you know, that rules over the, or governs over the like galactic space. And also I thought it was so funny. And I also just really like how everything came together, especially like showing off these like different species and kind of like how they interact with each other and how there's like interspecies like coupling and like, you know, it doesn't really like, no one really cares. No one really cares about, you know, these things that in our day and age are just such a trouble, are just such a like pain in the side. But like in this book, it's like no one blinks an eye. Now there are some xenophobes in this book, but thankfully it's not like really our main character. I mean, there's one that's like kind of a little speciesist, racist to species. I don't know if speciesist is the word, but you guys get what I'm saying. There is one guy on the ship that is like that, but he kind of like, you know, turns it around, which I like an arc where the guy is kind of a dick and then all of a sudden something happens to humble him and then he's singing a different tune, okay? So anyway, I loved this book. This was such a good pick, so thank you, Elizabeth. I think this was a great one to start off the month. And yeah, I do want to just mention that I did have a really great time in Puerto Rico. I was going to do like a whole vlogging thing, you know, while we were there, but I ended up coming back early. I had to come back and COVID test for a job, so I was only there for like 48 hours. So I basically packed everything that I could into this trip, and that is gonna be like the B-roll, the BTS roll. It was a really fun time. I had such a good time with my friends. Just like glad I went. I didn't get in the sun because I'm still white. But you know, I was really there for the company. It was like, if we're talking about a book, you know, what were we there for? We were there for the characters, you know? We weren't there for the plot, which would have been me, you know, sitting out in the sun and just enjoying the sun. But yeah, anyway, okay, so that's my update. I had a really great time. Becky Chambers, queen. Who do you think you are? And what's funny is she was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be a writer. Can you imagine if she never wrote this book? I loved it. Anyway, all right, I'm moving on. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey, what's up? Hello, everybody. I owe you a check-in for a couple of books. First, we're going to be talking about Machinehood by S.P. Divya. But yeah, I mean, first of all, what am I doing? I'm in my workout gear. It's my day off. And I find that when I dress myself for the day, aka when like I get in my workout gear, it makes me want to do the thing. You know what I mean? That I'm preparing for. So like working out, or if I wash my face and like do all my skincare and put some makeup on. It makes me more ready to like go and run errands on my day off or like whatever, instead of just sitting in my bed and being a little lumpopotamus. Not that there's anything wrong with doing that every now and then, but like I just want to make sure I'm making the best of my time off, my days off. And so that's why I'm in this like little workout set, you know? And I know what you guys are thinking. What a commitment that is. And honestly, it was the first week that I did it because I was like going hard, y'all. I was getting up at 5 a.m. I was going working out in the morning, and I still get up early and do that. But some days like today, I don't have to work. So I slept in a little bit and then decided, you know, I'm going to go later in the day. So my advice for that is, if you're trying to do anything like that, if you're not, just like skip forward. But my advice for working out and like starting that is to, like Nike says, just do it. Find yourself a comfortable workout outfit. It does not have to be a matching set of anything. It could literally be like an all black, you know, leggings, big t-shirt, hat, whatever. Like I always wear a hat because I like to act like I'm an incognito celebrity whenever I go. No, just kidding. That's not it. I sweat so much that like the hair on the top of my head gets plastered to my head. So I would rather not be uncomfortable and have the sweat like dripping down. It can all just gather in this hat. TMI, sorry. Anyway, but my advice is just to get an outfit that you're comfortable in and go and do the thing, even if it's walking on the treadmill for 15 minutes a day, you know? Because when I first started working out, I did the least. Like I did the minimum because I have been active and athletic all my life. So I know that like when you're starting from zero, you have to start really, really small and build. So once you get into the actual habit of going, which was my whole point when I started, was just building that habit. Once you get into the habit, you kind of crave that behavior and you crave doing that thing, and you don't even have to work out. You know, this was kind of a little TED Talk rant that I felt like going on this good fine morning, but you don't even have to work out if you don't want to. It's just if you feel like you do. I always feel better after I do. I feel more productive, my endorphins are up, like I feel happier. So that's why I do it, and physically I feel good, not just mentally. So yeah, that's why I work out, and that's all I gotta say about that. Anyway, let's get into the check-in for Machinehood. Okay, so I am almost halfway into this book. It's about a 400-page book. I'm on page like 170 something, but I wanted to go ahead and check in because I'm about to go to the gym and do some stuff, and then I'm gonna come back hopefully and get a good chunk of this book in by this afternoon. So I'll have another check-in hopefully later. The Machinehood is an interesting book, and what I mean by that is I feel like we're halfway through but nothing has really happened. I feel like this is a book where if you enjoy the world, like if you enjoy being in 2095 where like they have these almost like Secret Service agents who are up for hire as bodyguards, and you know they get followed by these tiny cameras that are kind of like social media cameras that people can like donate money to, and they're kind of famous low-key. If you like this world that they're building where they take pills and that makes them like stronger, better, faster, you know, it's very like Blade Runner-esque. And what's the other one that's with Keanu Reeves? I always forget the name of this freaking series, but it's like that, you know, it's like red pill, blue pill, what are you taking, you know, is anything real, that kind of a thing. It's like I Am Legend, not I Am Legend, I, Robot, that's what it is, that kind of stuff. Because the whole point of this book is supposed to be that there is a machine person hybrid called like the Machinehood. That's like their group name, you know, like they're a freaking pop group or something. They are trying to get equal rights for machines because in this world machines do everything for humans. They are their personal assistants, they do all of their like hard labor, they do their calculations, you know, it's like humans are trying to compete with machines, but at this point machines don't have any agency. So the Machinehood is trying to basically do like guerrilla warfare where they go and they just like blow up a bunch of people who oppose machine freedom. I don't really know what to call it, but like the AI freedom. So they go and they just like kill all these important people, and it's very like guerrilla style, like you don't know who really is in charge yet. And that's pretty much all that's happened. Like I'm just learning about the world they live in, and it is interesting because there are like nods to this like virus that happened. Probably had some like influences of COVID and stuff in the writing of this book. Like I can definitely see a few instances where that's that's true. And yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much all that's happened. Like, it's just the world building, really, because like, you know the premise of the book, but like, they haven't had any real contact with the machine hood directly yet, besides that kind of like guerrilla warfare where like they're attacking our main character, who is the bodyguard. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I'm super interested in it, because even though it like seems like it would be interesting, I kind of just want like the stuff to happen. Like, I want the contact with the machine hood. Like, I want the characters to kind of like, I don't know, like have more importance or like significance. There we go, have more significance. Because right now I'm going through 2 POVs. One is the bodyguard POV, and like, she's fine. Like, Welga's fine, you know, she's not anything crazy amazing. Like, she's, if I had to star her, like a 3 stars, you know. But then there's another POV who is like her sister-in-law, who is like this biogeneticist basically, and I am really struggling to know like why her POV is important to the storyline. It's giving me such a, I don't want to say a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm just like, why are we here? Why are we spending time with this character? I don't understand. She went through this one thing where she got pregnant, and I guess this was to like show the world and like that they live in, but like, she got pregnant and she couldn't have an abortion because she had to get her husband's permission, because obviously when you make a child with 2 important factors, right? You know, so it's like, she had to have his permission to go through with it, even though if he had said no, she would have had to like come full term with the baby. And it was like really crazy, because like, her and her husband don't have money to afford another child because they already have a child. He doesn't work really, like, he's pretty much a stay-at-home dad. She's the one who's working, so if she had like had to have had the baby, she would have had to stop taking like all the, basically like the science of this book, which is the pills that make people stronger and better and smarter and blah blah blah. She would have had to stop taking all those pills, which then would have knocked her out of her like work project, because she can't keep up with the machines unless she's taking the pills. You get what I'm saying? So like, they would have lost their major source of income, like their only source of income basically. And the reason why her husband was like being like against an abortion, I guess, is because of his religion, because he's Catholic. That whole part, it really, like, not to get political with it, but like, it really put a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm like, this man is really gonna ruin their lives because of an accidental pregnancy, and he knows that his wife doesn't want to go through with it. Ooh. So anyway, I was having some issues with that. I was like, why am I here in this book right now? This is pissing me off. Not to go on a tangent rant about that, and that's obviously not a spoiler to the plot of this book, but that's something that happened that I just like, it's like little stories kind of like that are happening in this book right now, and I'm just like, get me to the action of what the machine hood is, because I don't know why I'm halfway through this book and we haven't gotten there yet. Anyway, okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm trying to be open about it, because I feel like some stuff is gonna happen later on, but it's just like, I am definitely that person that does not like to wait. I don't like it when the things aren't thinging, like they're not matching up. Like, why do we need these plot points if they don't serve the plot later on in the book? So not to be harsh and severe, but I will say that when it comes to fantasy books and sci-fi books, I am a little more harsh of a rater. I think you guys probably saw that in the first battle of the books, but like, I'm a little more like, things gotta be making sense. And if they don't, I be giving it a bad rating. Anyway, okay. We still have half the book to go, so I'll check in with you guys, but I just wanted to check in and let you know how I'm feeling so far. I'm excited to finish this book so we can see what actually happens with the machine hood, because I think this premise is so fun. I just want something to happen. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna go. Toodles. All right. Sherman is back there playing. I don't know if you can see him, but if you hear, yeah, whatever that is, scratching, that's what that is. Okay, so nice to see ya. I say this every check-in, but it's been a while. I owe you guys the final thoughts on machine hood, which we'll go over right now, and then we're gonna talk about the halfway point of velocity weapon. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So machine hood, I think you guys already know, I wasn't truly happy with this book as I was reading it. I feel like there was a lot of buildup for, you know, the like plot of the book. And then when it came to like the final thing, like the final conflict, there was little to no conflict. I'm not saying that every sci-fi, every fantasy has to have this huge all-out war or something like that, but when you have kind of like a covert agency that is doing this like guerrilla warfare to like push a political agenda, I don't expect that ending of that story to basically, you know, be like a dog going belly up and like showing its belly to a stranger. You know what I mean? I don't know how to really explain it without spoiling it. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. I wasn't really in love with the characters. Like I said before, I had my gripes about the characters, the POV changes, and kind of like the weirdly intermittent plot points that didn't really, in my opinion, serve the overall like plot of the book. Like I said too, like I think this idea for this book was really, really good, but like the execution of it was not my favorite. I did not really jive with the writing style, and therefore it was very hard for me to get through this book. It took me so long to read this book because every time I would pick it up, I would either like get bored, get distracted, put it down and forget about it. And unfortunately, that really like hit my timeline pretty hard for this reading vlog because it kind of put me in a slump. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of put me in a slump. So there's that. So really that's like all I can say about this. We'll get deeper into the final rating for this when we do the call pile for it, but nothing really has changed since the last check-in for machinehood. That's really all I can say. Okay, we're gonna move on. Other than that, I have gotten to 50% of velocity weapon, and I feel like this is low-key. I feel like this is low-key everything that I would want in a sci-fi book. I feel like the politics in this are there, the plot is there, the characters are there. The characters could probably be like a little bit better to be like an all-out 10, like 5-star character, but I am really loving these, at least like the main point POV, like Sandra. I'm really loving her. Like I loved her from the first page when she was coming out of like the cryo sleep and she was trying to like figure out what had happened to her. So I briefly went over the plot of this book, but essentially this woman has come out of cryo sleep and it has been 230 years or something since this kind of like battle has happened that she was in, okay? And from that battle, she got put into like basically an evac pod that evacuated her out of the situation and put her in cryo sleep for like 230 years. So she wakes up and like her bones are like, not her bones, her muscles are like emaciated. Like she's just like not well. She's on an enemy ship, like an enemy research ship, because the ship is like what basically plucked her out of space because it's got like an AI personality on board, and the AI ship has been alone like this whole time. So once it kind of like saw her in orbit, it like took her in, basically like woke her up. So she wakes up alone on a ship with an AI, and then there's also like another cute little robot character called Grippy. So they're like a little unit and they are living their lives on this ship. So it goes from that storyline to a storyline when the actual battle was about to happen that follows her brother, because her brother ends up being like what essentially would be equivalent of like a governor, I think, or like a senator almost, like in this day and age, but he's almost like a senator of the planet Ada, which is like their home planet. Anyway, as you can tell, lots of plot is going on. Like there are lots of moving parts, but those are the two timelines. And then there's also this third one that I'm still trying to figure out. Like I don't really understand this third one and like why it's, you know, relevant to the plot, but I'm assuming it's going to come out later. But essentially there's a third one that follows like a heist team of 4 people, and that one you don't get their timeline. Like you know when they're doing the heists, but like they're far away from like the major events of like what's happening with Sandra and like what's happening with Biren. But I think they're on Biren's timeline, like the older timeline. I just don't understand why they're important yet. So they're gonna come, I know they're gonna come out later, like something's going on with them, but I'm enjoying their timeline too because they basically are going on heists, or like they went on a heist, and in this heist they kind of discovered something that serves like the greater plot of what's going on with this war. Like I said, as you can tell, lots is going on with the plot in this one, and I'm eating it up. Like I always say, a perfect 5 stars is like plot and character. and it's very, very true. But if you've got decent characters and a really good plot with politics, like you're in the 4.5 star range already. Like I can already feel it about this book, and I just think this is so well written as far as like having the 3 timelines. It is more of like an elevated sci-fi, so like a higher sci-fi, I would say. It's not super cozy. There are like terms in here, and like it's a whole new government. Like obviously we're talking about like made up, you know, star systems and like planets and things like that. But it is really interesting how some of the concepts in each of these sci-fis that I've read are pretty much like standard, like they're very similar. We'll talk about this at the end once I finish this book and like what kind of like commonalities I've seen in these sci-fis so far. But it's very interesting kind of like reading 3 sci-fis in a row, because now I'm like, oh wait, this is like a term that I recognize, you know what I mean? And obviously it's like when you first start a genre, even when you're reading like fantasy books, right? You might not know what like a fae is, or like a fairy or a djinn or like these things, but after you read enough books that like have those terms in them, you realize like what those things are and can like take that knowledge to like the next book. Like obviously it doesn't always transfer, and I feel like in sci-fi it's probably more easily transferable because it's based off science. Like it's not incredibly like super fantastical and like made up. But yeah, anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So yeah, I'm having a really good time. I also think another interesting part of this plot is that Sandra has like picked up another evac pod on her way to like another like star system. So that brings in a whole nother character to her timeline, because she's like, do I trust this man? Who is he? Like, is he who he says he is? Like, what's going on? I have my own theories about the plot of this book and like where this is going, but to like keep it spoiler free, I don't really want to say any of that to you guys, just in case you guys want to read this, because I do think this is a really good sci-fi to read and like discover these things yourselves. But I do have my own theories, and I think all of that going from the halfway point to the end of this book is really gonna like speed up and get revealed, especially since like a few pages ago something really crazy just got revealed and I was like, wow, I'm hooked. Okay. I was already really loving this book, but I think like with that reveal, now the plot is really just we're gonna roll. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. This is part of a series, I believe. I have nothing but good things to say about this book. Writing style, check. Characters, check. Plot, check. If you like politics, check. That is gonna be with the Biren timeline, like her brother's timeline, because he's like on the government side and she is like a military leader. I believe she's like technically a captain, or she was technically a captain of her ship. So, but she was definitely like in the military in that respect. So yeah, that's the halfway point. I'm gonna do this crazy, oh my God, do y'all ever get text messages from random numbers and the person just says hi, but they don't say who they are and you don't have the number saved? That just happened to me. Who is this? This is so weird. Ew. Because then I don't want to go and like text them and be like, hey, who's this? Because like, what if we have texted before and I just deleted your messages? I'm very excited to finish Velocity Weapon. Megan O'Keefe, like you're pretty impressive. Can't wait to finish this. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Wow, hello. I feel like I've just been wearing so many fun hats this entire vlog, but you know what they say, gray May, June gloom. Will it ever be sunny in LA again? Anyway, okay, so we're here for the final check-in for Velocity Weapon. I ended up loving the end of this book. Like, I had such a good time with this. I feel like this is the kind of sci-fi that has a lot of mystery to it. Like, there's a lot to be discovered in this, but it's not super overwhelming. It was definitely giving me like Red Rising vibes, just because of like the politics and kind of like the way that it was written, because there would be these like kind of like ups of like the plot would go up and then down a little bit and then up and then down. So there wasn't necessarily just kind of like a super large build to like one point and then going down from there to the end of the book, if that makes sense. There definitely was a setup for a second book, and this is part of a trilogy, so that makes sense. And I feel like there was a lot to still be discovered but like this was a whole complete story. It was very, very interesting. So I'm excited to get into the call pile with this one and let you guys know a final rating. It's going to be really, really close this round, but I am excited to really dive in and see which book actually won this round. What I did want to kind of mention with like all 3 of these books that we read for this round, there definitely was a common theme of kind of like the use of machines and AI technology and like how that can be a slippery slope when like put into the hands of humans. Because this theme, like throughout all 3 of the books, humans were dealing with technology that was low-key smarter than them, that they didn't really respect in any way as like a form of like sentient like being. It was basically like machines were in service to humans because humans like created them, and therefore because they created them, they had the right to like do with them what they will. And I thought that was really interesting that that was like the theme in all 3 of these books. Like literally in every single one of these, AI were trying to get out of the clutches of humans and like live their own lives, because the AI had essentially become, I mean, like movable beings that like wanted their own agency. They wanted their own freedom to like do whatever. So I thought that was a really interesting theme, and I don't really know like what that means for like this vlog really, other than it's something that really I hadn't thought about, I guess, because, you know, we use things like Siri and Alexa. We just ask like, you know, for simple tasks and things to be done. But like in these books, it was like, okay, so what's the difference between having this being that can like do all these things, but like they don't have their own agency to kind of like do what they want? It also reminds me of that movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. I think it's called Her. It was a similar thing to that. It's like your AI starts out as like this kind of like baby little thing that keeps growing and learning and eventually comes into like its adolescence. And in some cases, like in some of these books, like they have to do like terrible things, or like they go through terrible things, and it gives them like a sense of like PTSD in some cases. It gives them mental scars, like really things that like we would all want to be going to therapy for. And I just kind of found that theme to be really interesting in these books, because it's not really something that like I think about on the daily. Like I'm not really like, oh yeah, like we need to be thinking about AI freedom, and like if we create this intelligence, like what are we going to do with it? So it's a very interesting question, because obviously the way that we are developing as a society, like AI is very real, it is very apparent, and it's only going to get more and more advanced. So it's like these are kind of questions that we need to be aware of, I guess. It's above my pay grade for sure, but yeah, I did think that that was a really cool theme that all 3 of these books had in common. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. So let's get into the call pile of these 3 books, and we'll see who the winner of this round is. Whew, okay, so first things first, let's talk about A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Okay, I loved this book. Like, I feel like it's a 5 stars from the get-go, just because I love the characters, I love the plot, atmosphere was good, writing was good, intrigue was good, logic was good, enjoyment was good. If we're getting into the specific numbers of it, the characters in this one was an 8.5 for me. I really liked the characters, I really liked the representation of the characters, and I liked how they were written. So like the writing style of this is a 9.5, because like the writing was so good. But I did still feel like I wasn't like super close with the characters in this one. Like I didn't feel like it was like a 9 or a 10. It's like I really liked them, I felt close to them, but I wasn't like right there, like there with them, you know what I mean? So that's the only thing about that. Atmosphere, I ended up giving it an 8, writing 9.5, plot a 9 out of 10, because I really loved the plot of this book. A cozy sci-fi, like it was so much freaking fun. I did think that there was like one plot point that was a little convenient, but other than that, I'm willing to look past it, okay? Intrigue 9.5, I could like literally could not put this book down. Logic 9.5, everything made sense. It rocked. It was awesome. And then of course the enjoyment level was a 9 out of 10. Like it literally felt like a 4.5 when I was reading it. And yeah, so the call pile ends up coming out at an 8.94, which is like a hair above a 5 stars. So like if we're putting it on the scale, because an 8.9 is like the end of a 4.5, and then anything past an 8.9 is a 5 stars. So it's like a low 5 stars, which makes sense. Like I feel really, really, really good about that rating. It was a very good book. Really enjoyed it. And I can't say anything really much else about that. Like, it was just a fun time. Second book that I ended up reading for this vlog was called Machinehood. That one, I can't say that I had the best time with it. I felt like during the whole reading process, I was definitely like putting it down. I was having trouble focusing a lot. When I did put it down, I would kind of forget about it a little bit. And I think I told you guys I was slumping a little bit as I was reading it, just because like I wasn't vibing with some of the character POVs. Like I didn't understand how they kind of serve the plot and the larger value. And then of course, as I mentioned, like there was this like kind of like head to the plot that once it happened, it's like it fizzled out immediately and there was no really great payoff, like as far as the plot goes. As I've said before, I'm a characters and plot reader. That's why my caw pile is weighed more heavily on those two parts. So I think that definitely hurt it in the long run for this rating. But this is, you know, this is my objective, you know, rating. So let's get into the numbers. The characters I ended up giving a 5 out of 10. They were all right. Like they weren't the worst characters ever. Like I didn't actively hate them. They were just like all right. Like it was just a 3 out of 5. You know what I mean? Atmosphere I gave a 6. The world was okay. The world building was all right, but I wasn't super interested in it. Like it was okay. Like it was kind of interesting because you were taking these pills to like make yourself better. But like essentially I was just kind of like, meh, whatever. The writing, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Like I said, it's pretty middle of the road, like a little bit more than a 3-ish. The plot, I ended up giving like less. I gave it a 4 out of 10. I just wasn't impressed with this plot. I thought the like major like point of it or like the major thought behind it was pretty good, but like it just didn't come through in the execution, as well as with the intrigue. Like that is a 4 out of 10. It was all right. 2 out of 5. It was whatever. Logic, I gave it an 8. I think this is a generous 8. Logically, everything made sense in this. Like, I can't knock it too harshly on that one. But it was, again, like when it came to that uphill battle of the plot and like coming to that like very top point, it's just like it got a little convenient, okay? It got a little convenient. And logically, I just don't know if I liked it. Overall, I would say it would be, as an enjoyment factor, it would be a 3 out of 5 or like a 6 out of 10. Like it was what it was. Okay. So after all of that, the rating for it was a 5.33 out of 10, which is a 3.5 stars. It is a very low 3.5, like barely over the edge, because a 3.5 for me is a 5.3. So it's like right over the edge of a 3.5. It was almost a 3 stars, but that's the way the cookie crumbled. That's the way the cookie crumbled. All right. And then last but not least, we have Velocity Weapon, which is the most recent one that I just finished. I really love this one. I already talked about it. So let's just get into the caw pile for it. I loved the characters in this one. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Like I was vibing with these characters. Okay. I really love Sandra. I loved her brother. I was a little confused about the heist part, which we'll get into in a minute, but that's okay. Like, I enjoyed everything about it. Loved the characters. Gave them a 9 out of 10. Atmosphere is going to be the same as Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Like, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. It was a fun time. It was a fine time. I thought it was really well fleshed out. I love kind of like having these intergalactic entities that are all having to like work together to, you know, stay in space and stay relevant and like not kill each other. I'm enjoying those plot points. I'm enjoying those plot lines, and I thought it really came through with the atmosphere and the writing, which in this one I gave it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, had a good time. It was 0.5 less than Becky Chambers, but still a good time, still a really great book. The plot in this one, I am giving a 10 out of 10. The plot was so good. I thought the premise of the book, the execution of the book, everything with the plot was so good. Even like the reveal of like what happened, you know, in the story. So good. I really liked it. You know, hopefully I'm not overrating it. I feel like some people will see it and be like, I saw this coming a mile away. Maybe it's because I'm not a sci-fi reader all the time, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 10 out of 10. The intrigue and the logic are both going to be 9.5s for this one. The intrigue with this one, it was a heavy book, like it was a thick book, but I was intrigued with the plot. Like I wanted to know what was going on every time I put this book down. So it's going to be a 9.5 out of 10. Logically, everything in this book made sense. Loved it. There was nothing that I was kind of like, what's going on? Because everything got revealed in the end. It left me with more questions because of what happened in the book. Like I'm just like, wait a minute, what is going on? So I'm excited to continue this one. 9.5 out of 10. And then the enjoyment for this one is going to be a 9 out of 10. It was just a fun, really fun time. It was a really fun time. So I have it all calculated here. I'm gonna hit the go button so we can see what the official cop out rating is, because it's gonna be between this and Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. So let's see. She's a 5 stars with flaming couplers. Oh my God. Okay, so it ended up being a 9.27 out of 10, which is like, it is a low 5, but it is definitely a little bit higher than A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. And wow, I love this so much. Wow. I think this is my new favorite sci-fi. Like I just love everything about it. I don't even know if it's a space opera. Like I don't even know if that's what you would classify it. Like I need to read more sci-fi to like have a better grasp, but I really enjoyed it. Wow, this makes so much sense. Okay, I truly think that it really just got like a 0.5 on some of the things higher just because of the plot and the fact that it wasn't like as cozy as Small Way to no, it's not Small Way, Long Way to a Small Angry Planet was. That's the only reason why I think this one got rated higher, but it was still a really, really, really good book. Like both of those books are really, really good. Highly recommend. Wow, another riveting round of Battle of the Books. That's amazing. I'm so happy with this one. That is officially the end of our vlog. Hopefully you guys got some good recs and now you can follow these amazing creators that thankfully agreed to send me their recs and participate this last month. Elizabeth, Bree, and Mitch, thank you guys so much for sending me your recs. You guys are awesome and I really appreciate it. So if you guys aren't following these amazing creators, make sure that you do. I'm gonna have all of their information linked down below. This also means that because Mitch won this round, Book Talk is now in the lead on our scoreboard. Okay, so we have 1 point for Instagram, 1 point for YouTube, and 2 points for Book Talk. I never thought I'd see the day. Okay, I never thought I'd see the day. This is getting down to the wire. Wow, at the end of April, who knew that TikTok would be leading the scoreboard? So that makes me even more excited to know who is gonna win next month. I'm so excited. Anyway, okay, so that's it for Battle of the Books. You guys know the drill. Go ahead and follow all of these amazing creators. Go watch other episodes to get recs from other amazing creators. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I have to say. I'm very excited for next month. It is gonna be a fun, kooky time. And also I do wanna apologize how late this video is because I did get my recs a little bit later this month. So thanks for being patient. Thanks also for being here and joining me. And I will see you guys in the next round. Bye. Bum, bum, da 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 da, bum, bum, da.